Alright, you mobile application developers, welcome back. So in this video we are going to learn about data tables, and they are really useful when you want to display some kind of data to the user in a tabular form. This contains multiple columns and it also has two rows, and each row has data in it. So for example, rows are which goes from left to right and columns are from top to bottom. And the first row contains the data of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And the second, the second row. And it also contains these check marks, and it also contains the functionality of adding a function whenever this check mark happens or whenever the row is clicked. So we are going to learn how to do all of this stuff in this video. So let's go back to our code, and I've already added our screen inside our application. So first of all, we need to add our data table functionality inside our application. So we are just going to write from KiwiMD, and then we are going to use our UIX, and then inside this we are going to import our table. So they are also known as data tables inside KiwiMD, and then we need to import our MD data table. And then we just need to create a variable. So I'm just going to call this variable of table, and then I'm going to use this MD data table functionality, and this requires multiple parameters. The first parameter, and probably the most important parameter, is columns underscore data, which can tell what kind of columns do you want and how many columns do you want. So let's declare that. Let's go data equals to, and this is a list, so we are gonna add a square bracket, and now let's just press enter so that it goes to the new line. And over here it's gonna require a parenthesis, and inside this we can provide the name of our column and how big that column should be. So let's first provide the name of our column. So let's say our first column is food, and then to add the size of our column we need to import something known as a DP from Kiwi. DP basically stands for display pixels, and you can provide like 20 dp, 30 dp to show how many pixels do you want that column to have. So first we are just going to write from Kiwi, and then not KiwiMD, just Kiwi. We are going to import something known as DP from this kiwi.metrics. We are just going to write DP over here, and then inside our columns we are just going to add food, and then we can add a comma over here, and then we can add our DP functionality, and this will require a value. So for right now we are just going to give it a value of 30 display pixels. So now let's run it and see how it actually looks. So first we need to obviously add this table inside our screen. So let's do that. This is going to write screen.add_widget, and we're going to add this table functionality inside our screen. So now let's reload it, format everything properly, and run this main.py file. And now you can see that there's some kind of table appearing over here, but you can't really see it right now. So we need to add a little bit of more items inside our column. So let's actually add another column inside over here. So we're just going to put a comma, and then we are going to add something like maybe calories, so that we know how many calories each food item has, and then we can reload it and see how it looks. Now you can see that it has food and it has calories. Now how do we add rows inside it? For example, food is like burger, it has 300 calories, oats like maybe 150 calories. We need to add that data inside our table. So what we're going to do is we are going to add another parameter over here. So you can see that the column underscore data is ending over here, so we can just put a comma over here, enter a new line, and now we can add another parameter called row underscore data, and this will also be a list. So now we can add stuff over here. So we are requiring two parameters or two values because we have two columns over here, food and calories. So first we need to give the value of our food, and then we need to give the value of our calories. So first let's take the example of our burger. Our food is burger, and this burger contains, let's say, 300 calories. And we can add another row over here, so we can just put a comma, and let's give the second row a value of what we have discussed at oats. So let's go with oats, and then we can give the value of maybe 150 calories over here, and let's format everything properly and show it on our screen. So here you can see burger calories and oats and the number of calories. Now what we can also do is we can add a size over here. So for example, right now there is not this cool functionality that this has, that our example has. You can see that there's this box over here with this shadow around it. So we need to add this shadow functionality using this size underscore hint. So we need to give it a size. So over here, just before column underscore data, you can give it a size underscore hint, and this is a tuple. And what I want the X should be 90% of the screen. So this MD data table, we want to be 90% of our screen. So we're just going to write 0.9. And why we want it to be 60% of our screen? Obviously, feel free to play with it. And just by playing around, I've discovered these values work the best. So I'm just going to put in 0.6, and I'm going to add a comma over here, and let's format everything properly so it looks good. And let's make sure that it's at the same line. So I'm just going to add a tab over here and add some tabs over here too. and this parenthesis should end over here so that we can properly see how it looks. And actually let's make sure that our column underscore data is at the next line. And yeah, so everything is looking pretty good. Now let's reload it, and you'll be able to see that the size has changed and it has this beautiful like shadow in the behind in the background, but this table is not in the center right now. So let's add a position underscore hint at the same time. So I'm just going to write position underscore hint, and by this time you obviously know how to do it, so feel free to do it yourself. But if you don't, you can just watch over here, center underscore x. We are gonna make it in the center, so I'm just gonna put center underscore x as 0.5, and we're gonna do the same thing with center underscore y. So I'm just gonna copy this and paste this over here, put the y value, format everything properly, and let's reload it. And if you're confused when I say format everything properly, I just press Ctrl Alt and L on my keyboard, and that formats everything properly if we are using PyCharm. So now you can see it actually starting to look pretty good. It has like background shadows, it's in the center of our screen. And if you minimize this, you can see that our food and calories are being shown properly. But if we have multiple columns like we have in our example, you can see multiple columns over here, then they're not gonna fit inside our mobile screen. In that case, Kiwi has this functionality of scroll. So you can actually scroll on the right hand side if you have more columns, but I'm just gonna add like 2 or 3 columns in this example. So let's go back and add another column over here of number. So which item we are talking about. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna copy this and I'm gonna make it the first item over here, and instead of food I'm gonna give it the value of number, and over here it's going to require a number parameter because now we have 3 columns, so we need to provide 3 values also over here. So I'm just going to put 1 and then a comma, make sure our burger is perfect, and let's copy this and paste this over here too. Everything looks perfect. So now let's format this properly and reload it and see how it looks. So now you can see there's this number 1 and 2 and the food and the calories. Now let's minimize it and see how it looks. Now you can see that there's number, there's food, and if you scroll on the right hand side, only then you will get calories. So what you can also do to fit all of them on the same screen is minimize this display size. So for right now, I'm going to put this as value of 15 and the food also as 20 and even the calories as 20. And now let's reload it and you'll be able to see that they require a less screen space. So now you can just decrease this. As you can see all of them on the same screen. So this is much more handy if you are creating a mobile application. Make sure you play around with these DP values. Now in our example, there is also this check mark on the left hand side. So let's add that now to our example, and that is very, very easy. You just add this check parameter inside your MD data table and you give it the value of true. By default, it's false. You just give it the value of true, and when you reload it, you'll be able to see that there are some check marks appearing over here. But you can see that the n has gone up a little bit, and this means that we have given too little space to our number. So we need to increase this space a little bit. So now let's give it a value of 18 and you'll be able to see that everything looks pretty good, and you can just minimize it and put in your check marks. So now that we have done everything properly, now let's see how we can call a function whenever we click over here or whenever we click on this check mark, so that we know on which row our check mark has happened by the user or has been pressed by our user. And this is done by binding our data table to a method. So how do you do that? It's actually also very, very simple. So over here, we're just gonna go below and we're just gonna write our name of a variable. So our name of a variable is just table right now. So I'm just gonna write table.bind, and then over here, it requires a function that needs to be called. So we need a function to be called whenever a check mark button is pressed. So whenever this button is pressed, let's call a function. So for that, we are going to write on underscore check underscore press, and this will call a function whenever our check button is pressed. And which function do we want to call? So we haven't created the function yet, but we'll call the function as check underscore press. And we're going to do the same thing whenever our row is clicked. So I'm just going to copy this and paste this over here. And now instead of check, we are just going to write row. So this will check whether our check button has been pressed or not. And this will check whether our row has been pressed or not. So over here, instead of calling check press, I'm just going to call this row press. So let's create these check underscore press and row underscore press methods. So over here, just below this, I'm going to create a method known as check underscore press. Let's just copy this so that our work is easier and paste this over here, and this will has the parameter of self, and then it will have 2 more parameters. So the first parameter, you can just call it instance underscore table, and this will have the table data of where the check has been pressed, and it will also have another parameter known as current underscore row, and this will have the values of the row that has been pressed, or wherever the check mark has been pressed, this will contain the values of where the row has been pressed. So now let's actually print this out to see what it contains. So first I'm going to print out the instance underscore table, and remember these are objects, so we'll actually need to extract data from these objects. So first is the instance table. Let's also print out current underscore row, and we're going to do the same thing with our row underscore pressed. So we're just going to copy this and paste this over here, and this one, instead of current row, we are going to change this to instance row, and then over here we are going to change it to row underscore press, so that we create this second function or second method. And over here let's also change this to instance underscore row, and let's format everything properly to see how it looks. It looks pretty good. Now we can reload our program, and hopefully whenever we press our check mark, this should give us the data of this row, or the values of 1, burger and 30. So let's click on this check mark button, and you will see that we are getting the value of the object, so which cell row has been pressed, and we're also getting the data of 1, burger and 30. And now let's try and click on the row item. So for example, if we click over here, you can see we are getting another object, and you can obviously extract data from it. But for right now, we are just getting these objects from which we can extract the values. Now the last thing we need to learn is how to display a limited amount of rows over here. So for right now, we have just added 2 rows. So let's add multiple rows over here. So let's copy this, and what we're gonna do is I'm just gonna add a comma over here, so that we can just copy and paste this again and again. So let's add more than a lot of rows. So I'm just gonna copy and paste this over here. So now we have added 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9 rows over here. So we have added 9 rows, and now let's reload our main.py program, and you'll be able to see that multiple rows have come over here, but you can see that there are only 5 rows, and you can't see like more rows over here. So what you can do is you can add another parameters over here, and this is known as rows underscore num. So how many rows should be displayed on our screen? So we're just gonna add 10 over here, so that if we have 10 rows, all 10 rows can be displayed on our screen. So now let's reload it, and you'll be able to see that you can see 6 rows, and then you can just scroll down and see more rows, and whenever you click on a row, you can see the data of that row. So now let's see how it looks on our mobile phone, and you can see this is looking pretty good. So guys, this is pretty much it for this video. In the next video, we are going to learn how to create a toolbar that appears at the top of the screen. You must have seen it in multiple mobile applications, and I'm really excited about that because it looks really cool. So we are going to create that top toolbar in the next video, and I'll see you over there.